when this issue of the email server that Hillary Clinton had became a big issue, and the verdict and how they were handling it, I just thought that, there must be, it just wasn't right. And when I think back on what Trump has been saying, I think he's just been stating the obvious. So I said to myself, especially when the other day he was in Raleigh, Carolina, and he was talking about how the system is rigged, and then I thought about how the former Secretary of State set up her own server, and she being the person who's the custodian of security and supposed to know better, and how they declared her not guilty of using classified information on a server that wasn't secure. And I just said that, no, this is not right. There must be something wrong with this. And I was just watching Trump and what he was saying, and I said, no. I called my friend Ray, and I said, Ray, I like Trump, and how can I get involved in his campaign?
Obama voting for Donald Trump, that is President Obama's half-brother, Malik Obama. Take a look at this, the cover of today's New York Post. When November rolls around, the president's Kenyan half-brother plans to cast a vote for Donald Trump. The 58-year-old longtime Democrat crossing party lines due to his deep disappointment in his brother's administration for killing his friend Muammar Gaddafi. Well, he tells the New York Post, quote, I like Donald Trump because he speaks from the heart. Make America great again is a great slogan. I'd like to meet him. And those are your headlines. I'm sure Donald Trump would like to meet him as well.
Sure.
Hey, Joel.
Hey, Malik, nice to see you finally. How are you, sir?
I'm okay.
I have your book about your father.
Oh, that's great.
So tell me, where are you right now?
I'm in a city called Kisumu. It's about 40 miles from where I live.
So we want to have a kind of a candid talk from the heart about a number of subjects related to your half-brother and your family.
Okay.
Barack based his political career on the Obama family in Kenya. He made a big deal.
Very big deal. Very big deal.
My father was a foreign student, born and raised in a small village in Kenya. He grew up herding goats. My father grew up herding goats in Kenya.
I'm sure you follow the American politics, and a lot of Americans feel they were deceived politically because he said, I'm going to cut the deficit. Obamacare is not a tax. I'm going to support Israel.
Well, the way that he's turned and become a different person with a family is the same way that I see him behaving politically. He says one thing and then he does another. He's not an honest man, as far as I'm concerned, in who he is and what he says and how he treats people.
How has that made you feel as the oldest brother in the family?
Disappointed. Disappointed. Used and also betrayed. In the beginning, I didn't think that he was a schemer. His real character, his real personality, the real him is coming out now.
Do your other family members feel the same?
Yeah, a lot of them do. We may be putting a good face forward. Deep down inside, everybody's really disappointed and upset and angry, I guess.
When did you first meet Barack?
The first time we met was back in 1985. That's when I first arrived in the United States. This is a place in Eastern Market in Washington, D.C. It's a flea market. We had a couple of days we shared together, and I was just really overwhelmed and happy.
When did he visit you in Kenya?
1988, I had convinced him. I'm the one who convinced him to come on down.
Did you go with him to your father's grave?
Yes.
Place? You did?
Yes. Yeah, all that actually happened.
What was the relationship like during those years?
We were together and were really tight at the time, and you could talk to him, and we just took everything for granted. You know, I loved him unconditionally, and I thought he loved me, and the family, unconditionally. One time when he was still working as a community organizer, he took me around to where he was working in his office.
Was he the best man at your wedding?
Yes, he was. And he had also asked me to be his best man at his wedding the year before. He was married in 1992. We were very close.
My impression is the Obama family gave him the basis for his entire political career.
Yes, that unusual story contributed greatly to what he is right now.
Let's talk about the book, Dreams from My Father, where he talks about your father so much.
I may be able to show you the original, the copy that he sent me, it's a manuscript.
What was the original name of the book?
Where My Father Lies Buried. And then he changed it to Claims of Inheritance. And then I think that's when he finally changed it to what it is, Dreams of. And he felt like, as a representative of his dad, you know, his elder brother, I should go through the book just to make sure that everything was okay. It was a tedious process, and so I just did the best I could.
Was everything accurate, or was it a lot of embellishment, do you think?
Well, some of it, like my grandfather being detained and all that. I'm very close to my grandmother, and I never heard that before. And some of the things weren't correct, especially what my sister had to say.
Did you go to the first presidential inauguration?
Yes, I did.
And was Aunt Zaytouni there also?
Yeah, she made it there, just as she had made it to Washington during senatorial inauguration.
And how did you feel at the inauguration? Were you treated with honor?
No, I didn't feel like we were actually welcome and treated well. I didn't feel that, we were really, a part of his program.
It sounds very awkward.
Yeah. Not even then, even up till now, it's like that. And if I need to see him, then I have to really make an effort. And when I do go, then, I go in through the back door, or at night. This last visit, when I went, my aunt was died in Boston. I really was crushed and broken.
Did you ask him for some funds to help bury Aunt Zaytouni back in Kenya?
Yes, I did. I told him that she's our aunt, she's your father's sister. She loved you very much, and we need to do something for her because we need around $20,000. And he said that was too much, and that it seemed like she deserved, what she got. And I was saying in my mind, what kind of person is this? And I told him, you say you're your brother's keeper. I don't feel it, and I don't see you, or living up to what you say. She had really been good to him when he came. I felt really sad that he would just abandon her like that. I just left, She was stuck there for a month. People were trying to raise money, and we finally got her back.
I see. What are the general living conditions in Kenya for you and your extended family? Extreme
hardship, poverty, and, in Africa, you know how it is, and people are really hard up. Infrastructure is poor, there's no electricity.
Has he helped you or the rest of the relatives over the years that he used in his book and his political career?
No.
Has Barack done anything for your village?
No.
Has he contributed to the foundation for your father?
No. Nothing.
So has Barack, do you think, treated you with respect as an older brother since he was elected president?
No. Doesn't want anything to do with me anymore.
And how did that make you feel?
Hurt, crushed, and just, it's hard to really imagine. I don't understand how somebody who claims to be a relative or a brother can behave the way that he's behaving, be so cold and ruthless, and just turn his back on the people he said were his family.
Frank Marshall Davis, fairly well-known poet named Frank Marshall Davis, who had moved to Hawaii. Frank Marshall Davis.
Malik, I sent you my movie a few months ago, Dreams from My Real Father. When did you first watch it?
When you sent it to me.
So do you think that Barack looks like Frank Marshall Davis? This is a man that he said raised him more than your father.
There's a great resemblance. Yeah, I think Frank Marshall Davis and Barack, they look alike. Some kind of moles I see on his face, and Frank, he has those too. There's a resemblance.
And does he resemble your father?
Not really. I don't, they say about the years, and no. Your movie definitely, puts a lot of questions in my mind.
Well, would you like to see or do a DNA test one day to know for sure?
That would really prove, whether we're related or not. Yes, I would be willing to do that. I don't know how I would deal with it if it really came out that there's a fraud or a con.
It might be the reason why he made such a big deal about you politically, but personally he doesn't feel the bond.
I'm agreeing. Yeah, I agree with that, because it's hard to understand how somebody can make such an about turn and make a big play about where he comes from. And then once he gets what he gets, he wants nothing to do with that place anymore. We need an explanation. And if you can provide the explanation, it would be better for all of us, and so that we won't be hanging, hoping for nothing. Because that's what I really feel for my people, is because they keep hoping. Maybe they're hoping for nothing, because he doesn't mention it anymore, that where he comes from or who his relatives are. He doesn't say any of those things anymore. So it's really disappointing, Joel, but that's life. So we live with it and move on, and we wait for the truth to come out.
Do you expect when he comes to Kenya that he will come to see you?
No, I don't expect that. I don't. You see, he's coming to Kenya right now. I've not been informed. I don't know what the program is about. It's a betrayal, big humiliation, and embarrassment, and demeaning.
What would you like to see happen next in your relationship with Barack?
I'd like to see him be for real, not be so deceptive. He should live up to his word and be the leader that we expected him to be. If he truly is, my father's son, then he needs to behave in a way that if my father was alive, I would be proud of him, because although my dad, went through what he went through, he would never, abandon his family.
I appreciate your being very candid. If you come to America, I would love to see you in California. I think you are the more genuine brother, if he is your brother. Maybe we can switch Obamas, and the White House will be better off. That's what I think.
Thanks, Joel. It was good talking to you, and I want to follow up on this and what your investigations really bring up, and this line of thinking. All the best.
Assalamu alaikum. Many other Americans have Muslims in their families or have lived in a Muslim-majority country. I know because I am one of them. But my father came from a Kenyan family that includes generations of Muslims. As a boy, I spent several years in Indonesia and heard the call of the azan at the break of dawn. I have known Islam on 3 continents before coming to the region where it was first revealed. That experience guides my conviction.
You are absolutely right that John McCain has not talked about my Muslim faith.
As the Holy Quran tells us, the Holy Quran teaches that, the Holy Quran tells us, and the Holy Quran also says, we will convey our deep appreciation for the Islamic faith, which has done so much over the centuries to shape the world.
I would like to speak directly to the people and leaders of the Islamic Republic of Iran. Your great and celebrated culture. Over many centuries, your art, your music, literature, and innovation have made the world a better and more beautiful place. We know that you are a great civilization, and your accomplishments have earned the respect of the United States and the world.
I also know civilization's debt to Islam. It was Islam at places like Uluzar that carried the light of learning through so many centuries, paving the way for Europe's Renaissance and Enlightenment. It was innovation in Muslim communities that developed the order of algebra, our magnetic compass and tools of navigation, our mastery of pens and printing, our understanding of how disease spreads and how it can be healed. Islamic culture has given us majestic arches and soaring spires, timeless poetry and cherished music, elegant calligraphy, and places of peaceful contemplation. They have fought in our wars, they have served in our government, they have stood for civil rights, they have started businesses, they have taught at our universities, they've excelled in our sports arenas, they've won Nobel Prizes, built our tallest building, and lit the Olympic torch. And when the first Muslim American was recently elected to Congress, he took the oath to defend our Constitution using the same Holy Quran. In ancient times and in our times, Muslim communities have been at the forefront of innovation and education. Islam is not part of the problem in combating violent extremism. It is an important part of promoting peace. The enduring faith of over 1 billion people is so much bigger than the narrow hatred of a few. In the United States, rules on charitable giving have made it harder for Muslims to fulfill their religious obligation. That's why I'm committed to working with American Muslims to ensure that they can fulfill zakat. It is important for Western countries to avoid impeding Muslim citizens from practicing religion as they see fit. And I consider it part of my responsibility as President of the United States to fight against negative stereotypes of Islam wherever they appear.
We are no longer a Christian nation.
We do not consider ourselves a Christian nation.
The United States has been enriched by Muslim Americans. Since our founding, American Muslims have enriched the United States. Islam has always been a part of America's story. There is a mosque in every state in our union and over 1,200 mosques within our borders.
One of the points I want to make is that if you actually took the number of Muslims Americans, we'd be one of the largest Muslim countries in the world.
Let there be no doubt, Islam is a part of America.
He did bow to the Muslim king, while he did not do it to the British Queen of England. And by bowing, he showed the world that I am subservient. I do bow down to you as a Muslim king, something no other president has done with Saudi Arabia. The Saudi king is his peer. He is not his subordinate in order to bow for him. And this is exactly what Obama did. Usually it is out of respect that someone would nod his head when bowing to royalty, and the ladies will give curtsy. But Obama went beyond what is required as a head of state and bowed to the Saudi king, and that's unacceptable.
Right,
it sent the wrong symbol.
When you say it sends the wrong signal, what signal do you think it sends?
It sent a message that Islam is superior to any other master or king or president in the world, that an American president bowed to a Muslim king. It also sent a message that terrorism and jihadism is giving Islam the respect it should have on the world stage, to the point that it made an American president, for the first time in history, bow to a Muslim king.
And this is a common thought shared by all
Presidential candidate Barack Obama is trying to change political fashion. He gave a speech in Iowa City today, and he wasn't wearing an American flag pin. Those pins have become synonymous with politicians since 9/11. Obama says he doesn't like how the pin has come to represent patriotism in America.
I won't wear that pin on my chest.
It's a little weird, Alan, that in the middle of the campaign, the guy takes off the American flag that most people wear because they're proud of their country.
Let me speak as clearly and as plainly as I can. America is not and never will be at war with Islam.